So welcome to our brief review of The Night Circus. And this book has a very simple plot. Basically what happens in this book is there are two thoughts about how to perform magic and two different magicians who think these thoughts. Anyways, they decide to have competitions and they raise children under these schools of magic and they have them compete to the death in a competition to the death to prove which one is better. The two characters we're following in this competition are Marco and Celia. One of them is the daughter of an actual magician who's putting her through this. And basically they choose the circus as a venue. They're supposed to compete and there's only supposed to be one left standing.
In the end, there can be only one.
The imagery in this book is beautiful. You can taste the words. You can feel this circus coming to life in your mind. But you have this beautiful playground in your head, but there's nothing happening in it.
There's no one to play in it. The characters are very flat, at least the main characters, Celia and Marco. They're kind of characterized by their magic, and that's about it. Celia's a little more impulsive and vibrant, while Marco's very kind of planned and calculated.
Marco is a bit of a dick, too.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about it, because at the beginning of this whole circus endeavor, he is working for this man who will end up funding the circus. And this guy has a crush on him, and Marco is just like, it's never really said, but is Marco like messing with his brain to get what he wants out of him?
He's more like kind of keeping him in line so he doesn't figure out too much.
And then at the same time, Marco meets this woman earlier on in the story, and even he's with her, and even though he starts falling for Celia almost the moment he sees her, he still strings this other girl along. And
for
then,
like 8 to 16 years.
And then it's just kind of like one day like, I kind of like Celia, so you know what, the last 6 years, they've been fun. And the thing is, even that comes off as flat, because you know that he's going to end up with Celia. You know that this girl doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things, even though she is a very interesting character, because she kind of possesses magical abilities, but they don't really fit into the schematic world that we've seen. Our back says, the circus arrives without warning. No announcements precede it. It is simply there when yesterday it was not. Within the black and white, striped canvas tents, it is utterly unique. An utterly unique experience full of breathtaking amazements. It's called Les Cirques de Rêve, and it is open only at night. So
the back of the book is a lie, because there's like this magical competition that's fierce. They don't even know who they're competing against for 50% of the book. And then it's not fierce because they fall in love. Their whole circus is basically a love letter to each other, because they're like, hey, I love what you did there. That was so smart. Well, I'm just going to build this piece over here so that you know, it complements your piece, or we'll work on this together. There is no competition. They were not even remotely trying to kill each other.
It would have been really, really interesting if it was more of a competition and they were in love. Like they could have spun it differently how they were building off one another, but the fact that they knew that every time that they did this, they were putting themselves back further. If they had built up more of an antagonistic relationship between the two of them, it would have been more interesting.
Or somebody actually wanted to win.
There are a few things about this book that kind of really irked me, and I think those few things are just based off of personal experience. The first is, confession time, guys, I'm a carny. I have worked at many carnivals and fairs, and the very first thing that I want to point out is this book uses the term carnival and circus interchangeably. That's not true. Circus, you have one main tent where most events take place in a single ring. A carnival, you have multiple tents and booths. They refer to this as a circus. There are multiple tents and booths. It's a carnival. Yes, that's me nitpicking. The next thing that really, really kind of made, I guess, I couldn't suspend my disbelief, because she spends all of this time describing this beautiful carnival. Like, you know, the carnival smelled of dreams and caramel corn and cotton candy. When I originally read this book the first time, I was in my trailer getting ready for a day at the carnival, and it's going, dreams and cotton candy, and I'm just like, you know what? The one thing that I can say that she got correct, though, is the relationships people have when they're working in a carnival, a traveling circus, because you spend so much time together, you build up this family relationship. That is true. I can definitely vouch for that. I have met some pretty awesome people. But this book, it just falls flat and it just breaks your heart because it has so much promise.
I mean, the characters are so flat. They're like characterized literally by their magic. This one guy is calculating and careful because that is what his magic is. And she is impulsive and vivid because that is what her magic is. And they don't have a personality. And I'm pretty sure every other side character in this book is far more interesting than these two people because they actually have personalities.
There's this one character who she is the contortionist, and her name is Tsukiko. And she is just, it kind of gets revealed, minor spoiler, that she is one of the competitors of a previous competition. And there's just so much you want to know about her. I would have preferred to read about the other competition that she participated in because it just sounds so much more tragic and so much more interesting in the way she bears what happened to her.
This book has the pace of breathing. You can feel as the book inhales, and then it exhales, and then it inhales, and then it exhales. And if you let your mind wander and you just kind of like blaze through it in a kind of dream-like haze, it's fine to read. But if you're expecting action, you're not going to get it with this book. And I have read and watched things that have that same kind of pace where you feel like you're almost like meditating as you watch or read it. But they were done way better than this, I'll tell you that much.
This, as you said, would make probably a very, very good poem, or a very, very good short story, or possibly even a very good movie. In the fact that if you were, like, the cinematography that you could derive from this book would be beautiful. Like the use of color, the use of black versus white, and the use of red.
But plot-wise, they'd have a lot of work to do.
It would make, a good, French neo-realism movie? A German expressionist movie? It had, I could see good things if this got into the hands of Tim Burton.
So, yes, our review of Night Circus basically is this. If you want something where you can kind of just escape and kind of dream and imagine this wonderful thing, read it. If you want a wicked, awesome fantasy battle, no.
This book is beautiful in its own right with the imagery. But yeah, that's about all we have
to say. So, we'll see if she comes out with anything else, but until then, we have Night Circus.
It's time to turn off the light. This has been such a beautiful night. We've served you a lot of delights and some really wonderful sights.